If you liked the video, feel free to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by. Grey Knights Hallowed Conclave Overview. This video is an overview of the new Grey Knights 10th edition Codex Detachment, Hallowed Conclave. This detachment is our Terminator's detachment. It has the rules that support our Terminator characters as well as our Brotherhood Terminators and Paladins. We will take a look at the Grey Knights Army rule, then the Hallowed Conclave Detachment Rule, Enhancements, and Stratagems. I have a list of some of the top units for the detachment with a few example lists. We are just getting into the Codex. I'm sure these lists will evolve over the coming months. Let's start with the Army rule, Gate of Infinity. We will start with the Grey Knights Army rule, Gate of Infinity. If your army faction is Grey Knights, at the end of your opponent's fight phase, you can select a number of Grey Knights units from your army with this ability, excluding units that are within engagement range of one or more enemy units, providing all models in that unit have this ability. The maximum number of units you can select depends on the battle size. Once you have made your selections, remove those units from the battlefield and place them into strategic reserves. That is the Army rule, returning units to reserves at the end of the opponent's fight phase. What we do with those units is not part of the Army rule. We can hold units in reserves until the end of the game if we want to. We won't win games, but we can technically do it. Units use the reserves, strategic reserves, to place those units back on the battlefield. It is why it is so important for so many of our Grey Knights units to have the Deep Strike ability. Yes, that means we can hold the units in reserves to rapid ingress. The Hallowed Conclave Detachment Rule is duty before all. Grey Knights Terminator units from your army are eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which they fell back. A simple, easy to remember detachment rule, always active, no dice rolls or extra hoops to jump through. The problem is, I'm not sure how strong it will be. Great for when we do need to fall back and still be able to hand out some shooting and melee damage. We are a strong melee army. Not many enemy units are willing to charge our Terminators unless they think they can either kill a unit or badly damage our Terminator unit. A good ability that may not be used as much as we would like it to be. Next we have the 4 enhancements for the Hallowed Conclave. Our first enhancement is Eye of the Augurium. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that one, but it's the way she goes sometimes. Grey Knights model only, once per battle round. The bearer can use this enhancement. If it does, you can target the bearer's unit with the Fire Overwatch or Heroic Intervention Stratagem for 0 CP. You can do so even if you've already targeted a different unit with that stratagem this turn. Fire Overwatch for 0 CP will be something we can do if it's available, for the most part expecting some chip damage at most. Stormbolters with a few heavy weapons are not the most dangerous Overwatch threat. We could use it on a Grandmaster and Nemesis Dread Knight, and that will give us a little more Overwatch threat. It is the Heroic Intervene for 0 CP is what I like about this enhancement. We can use the bearer to set up traps for enemy units. A great target for rapid ingress to threaten with Heroic Intervene. With the Eye, it will only be 1 CP instead of 2 CP to set up that trap. The next enhancement is Inescapable Judgment, Grey Knights model only. Each time an enemy unit with an engagement range of this bearer falls back, the bearer can use this enhancement. If it does, roll 1d6 on a 2 to a 5, that enemy unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, that enemy suffers d3 plus 3 mortal wounds. These mortal wounds are psychic attacks. A potential of 6 mortal wounds to a unit that fell back from the bearer's unit could put some hurt onto the opponent. How many times over the course of the game are we going to be able to get this unit into combat with an enemy unit and then have that enemy unit fall back in their turn? My guess is not many. The enhancement has some good mortal wounds potential, but I doubt it ever reaches that potential. Then we have Nemesis rounds, Grey Knights Terminator model only. Each time you target the bearer's unit with a Fire Overwatch stratagem, hits are scored on an unmodified roll of a 5+ while resolving that stratagem. It is a shame this is not a stratagem. Overwatch on 5+ instead of 6+, then change the Eye of the Augurium enhancement that we could use Nemesis rounds or Heroic Intervention for 0 CP. The way it is now, Overwatch for 1 CP on a 5+ on a Terminator character model's unit only is not that strong. Once again, Stormbolters and a few side cannons hitting on a 5+ will not stop a tough vehicle or monster unit from coming right at us. Our last enhancement is Sanctic Reaper, Grey Knights Terminator model only. add 3 to the attacks of the bearer's melee weapons. Another Terminator only enhancement, my choice will be on a Grandmaster. Combine it with their once per game ability Might of Titan that adds +3 strength and attacks to the melee weapons. For one fight phase, the Grandmaster will have 11 attacks at strength 9, AP 2, damage 2. The rest of the game, the Grandmaster will be at 8 attacks, strength 6, AP 2, damage 2. Those were our 4 enhancements. Let's move on to the 6 stratagems for the Hallowed Conclave. The first stratagem we'll take a look at is Giants of the Battlefield for 1 CP. In the fight phase, 1 Grey Knights Terminator unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to the attacks of melee weapons equipped by models in your unit. I like how this is a flat add 1 to the amount of attacks, no hoops such as the target must be on objective or below half strength, infantry or vehicle, anything like that. It's just a simple 1 CP for +1 attack per model. Even better, we can take our Brotherhood Terminators or Paladin squads into units of 4, 5, 8, or 10. On a 4-man unit, we may want to save the CP for a larger unit, especially on an 8 to 10-man Paladin squad that has charge this turn. 8 to 10 extra attacks on damage 3 weapons is a CP well spent. Next up is Grind Them Underfoot for 1 CP. In your charge phase, just after a Grey Knight Terminator unit from your army ends a charge move. Select 1 enemy unit within engagement range of your unit. Then roll 1d6 for each model in your unit that is within engagement range of that enemy unit. For each 4+, that enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound to a maximum of 6 mortal wounds. Dealing mortal wounds after a charge feels very Terminator. Smashing into the enemy with big giant armored Grey Knights is going to hurt. The downside is there is some setup that needs to be done for this to be worth it. We have to make sure we get as many models in our unit within engagement range of that enemy unit. Roll a d6 for the amount of models in our Grey Knights unit that are within engagement range of the target. For every 4+ is a mortal wound. A large Terminator Paladin unit hitting the max 6 mortal wounds will be easier, making the 1 CP worth the risk. A small 4 to 5 model unit, I would save the CP unless we really need those mortal wounds to take out the target for some points. Then we have Point Blank Purgation for 1 CP in your shooting phase, 1 Grey Knights Infantry unit. Until the end of the phase, Stormbolter weapons equipped by models in your unit have the pistol and twin-linked abilities. Another rule in this detachment that seems interesting until we unpack the stratagem and what the Stormbolter is. Stormbolters being pistol means we can shoot them while at engagement range in the shooting phase. It also gives them twin-linked, reroll the wound roll. A Stormbolter is 2 shots with rapid fire 2. Engagement range means we should be within rapid fire range. That will be 4 shots at strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. This could clear out horde or light infantry units meant to tie up our Grey Knight unit, hopefully clearing that chaff unit out, allowing our Grey Knight unit to charge. Then we look back at our detachment rule. Terminator units can fall back, shoot, and charge. Why spend a CP to shoot in combat when we can fall back and shoot regularly and then charge without the risk of still being in combat? The saving grace is that Point Blank Purgation is Grey Knights Infantry. Still, with Stormbolters only, we are not putting the fear of the Emperor into our enemies. If it were all ranged weapons, the awful Purgation squad would have a decent stratagem. Alas, it is Stormbolters only, so there's not a lot of threat in this stratagem. Especially when the detachment rule allows us to fall back, shoot, and charge with our Terminators, so we're going to be using this on Purifiers and Purgation squads and other infantry units that are not a Terminator unit. The next stratagem is Precognitive Strategies for 1 CP. In your opponent's movement phase, just after an enemy unit ends a normal, advanced, or fallback move, 1 Grey Knights Infantry unit from your army that is within 9 inches of that enemy unit and not within engagement range. That Grey Knight Infantry unit can do a normal move up to D6 inches. I really dislike the D6 reactive move stratagems. This would be a fantastic stratagem if it was a flat 6 inches. We have one in the Talons of the Emperor Adeptus Custodes detachment. It was what defined the whole detachment. A flat 6-inch reactive move works great for a small unit count elite army. As it is now, planning this stratagem out takes much more work, making sure that even a low roll will move the unit into a more advantageous position. D6 inches causes this to be an unreliable stratagem for making smart plays. The next stratagem is Shining Resolve for 1 CP and your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Grey Knights Infantry unit from your army until the end of the phase. Each time attack that targets your unit, if the strength of that attack is greater than the toughness of your unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. One of the better stratagems in this detachment for survivability. 1 CP for -1 to the wound roll in the shooting or the fight phase is strong. The incoming attack needs to be greater than our toughness to activate it. The fact that our units are either toughness 4 or toughness 5 with a 2+ base save and others have a 4+ invulnerable as well, low strength and low AP weapons will struggle to hurt us. We want Shining Resolve for those big high strength, high AP, high threat attacks. The last stratagem for the Hallowed Conclave is Unending Fidelity for 1 CP. In your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, just after the enemy unit has selected its targets, 1 Grey Knight Infantry unit from your army until the end of the phase. Each time a model in your unit is destroyed, if the model has not shot or fought this phase, roll 1d6 on a 4+. Do not remove the destroyed model from play. It can shoot or fight after the attacking unit has finished making its attacks. It is then removed from the battlefield. I have played a lot of factions throughout 10th edition, all kinds of different detachments. Unending Fidelity for 1 CP is my first shoot on death as well as fight on death. It is Grey Knights Infantry. Shoot on death is not as powerful as on a Nemesis Dreadknight or a Grandmaster Nemesis Dreadknight. For the most part, it will be shooting on death with Stormbolters. Is it just me, or does this detachment seem to love Stormbolters? The fight on death on a 4+ part of the stratagem is much better. It also gives us an option into a fights first unit. Not my first choice, but it is an option into those fights first enemy units. Those are all the rules for the Hallowed Conclave Detachment. Let's move on to some example lists. I do have 3 example lists for the Hallowed Conclave, 2 2,000 point lists and 1 1,000 point list. Our first 2,000 point list is an all infantry list, and it comes to 2,000 points. Our Warlord is a Grand Master with the Sanctic Reaper Enhancement and a Psy Cannon. For the other characters, we do have Castellan Crow, a Brother Captain with the Eye of the Augurum and a Psy Cannon. The last character is a Brotherhood Librarian with the Combi Weapon and no enhancement. For my battle line, I do have 2 units of 5 Terminators, 2 Psy Cannons, 1 Ancient's Banner, and 1 Narthasium in each one of those units. A 5-man Strike Squad unit with a Psy Cannon and Close Combat Weapon in that unit. For my other data sheets, I do have an 8-man unit of Paladins with 3 Psy Cannons, Ancient's Banner, and a Narthasium in that unit, as well as a 5-man Paladin Squad, 3 Psy Cannons, 1 Ancient's Banner, and 1 Narthasium in that unit as well. A 10-man Purifier Squad, 4 Incinerators, and 4 Close Combat Weapons. To round out the list, I do have 2 more 5-man Purifier Squads, this time with 5 Stormbolters and 5 Nemesis Force Weapons. And that's my all-infantry list. It comes to 2,000 points. Our next 2,000 point Hallowed Conclave list is a combined arms list, and it comes to 2,000 points. Once again, the Warlord is a Grand Master with the Sanctic Reaper Enhancement and a Psy Cannon. For the other characters, we do have Castellan Crow, a Brother Captain with the Inescapable Judgment Enhancement and a Psy Cannon, a Grand Master and Nemesis Dreadknight with the Eye of the Augurum, with a Sublimator, Heavy Psy Cannon, and a Great Hammer. For the last character, we do have another Grand Master and Nemesis Dreadknight, no enhancement, with a Sublimator, Heavy Psy Cannon, and a Great Hammer. For the battle line, I do have a 5-man Terminator Squad, 1 Ancient's Banner, and 1 Narthasium, as well as a 4-man Brotherhood Terminator unit with only 1 Psy Cannon, 1 Ancient's Banner, and 1 Narthasium, 5-man Strike Squad unit with 1 Psy Cannon, 1 Close Combat Weapon. For our other data sheets, we do have our 8-man Paladin Squad, 3 Psy Cannons, Ancient's Banner, and a Narthasium, a 10-man Purifier Squad with the 4 Incinerators and 4 Close Combat Weapons. Finally, a 5-man Purifier Squad with 5 Stormbolters and 5 Nemesis Force Weapons. The 1,000 point list we have is an infantry list, and it comes to 1,000 points. Our Warlord is a Grand Master with the Sanctic Reaper Enhancement and a Psy Cannon. The only other character is Castellan Crow. Our battle line is a 5-man Strike Squad unit with a Psy Cannon and Close Combat Weapon. The other data sheets, we do have 2 4-man Paladin Squads with 1 Psy Cannon, 1 Ancient's Banner, and 1 Narthasium in each one of those units. To finish off this 1,000 point list, we do have 2 5-man Purifier Squads, The first one has 2 incinerators and 2 close combat weapons. I'll join that unit with Castellan Crow, and our final Purifier squad has 5 Stormbolters and 5 Nemesis weapons for more of a combat focused role. Those were my 3 example lists for the Hallowed Conclave. Let's move on to some final thoughts. We will finish the video with some final thoughts. I like the idea of this detachment, although I believe this detachment and the Augurium Task Force are the weakest of the 6 detachments. I do like this detachment for casual games. I want to try it on the channel eventually in our battle reports. I think it needed more ways to get into combat with some more defensive buffs. Give it more of an identity other than you can take lots of Terminators. What do you think of this detachment? Will you be trying it out first or one of the other new detachments? Subscribe for battle reports, list videos, and other Warhammer 40K content. Channel members gain early access to videos and an invite to the channel Discord. Like always, thanks for watching, thanks for stopping by.